The crew were always bait. The Nostromo crew in Alien weren't miners on a return journey. They were a delivery system that didn't know it was delivering itself. Weyland-Yutani had already decoded enough of the LV-4-6 transmission to know exactly what was waiting on that rock. An aggressive alien life form worth more to the company than every human being on that ship combined. So they acted 2 days before departure. The existing science officer was pulled and replaced. Ash was assigned, not hired. Assigned a synthetic sleeper agent embedded into the crew with one standing order that superseded everything else, including the survival of everyone around him. The crew never had a vote. The distress call wasn't a distress call. It was bait on a hook. Weyland-Yutani had already decided to set Ash's behavior throughout the film isn't malfunction or rogue programming. It's mission compliance. The company didn't send the Nostromo to investigate an alien signal. They sent it to retrieve a weapon and wrapped 6 human lives around it to make the delivery look routine. The crew were the packaging. The ship returned from hell. The event horizon didn't malfunction or drift off course into some unexplained deep space catastrophe. It went exactly where it was designed to go and came back wrong. Anderson put it directly into the script. The ship itself is possessed, not by alien intelligence, not by a deep space anomaly, but by something occupying a dimension that no instrument was ever built to measure. The gravity drive didn't open a shortcut through space. It opened a door into something else entirely. The distress call the Lewis and Clark crew spends the film decoding isn't damaged signal interference or corrupted data. The translation is save yourself from hell. Liberate Two-Tame X and Ferris, deliberately buried under a mistranslation. The film allows most viewers to miss entirely. Every vision the crew experiences is sourced from the same place. Every horror the ship generates after its return is real, targeted, and personal, pulled from each crew member's worst material. The event horizon didn't return from beyond Neptune. The gravity drive worked perfectly. It just went somewhere it was never supposed to come back from. Ryan died in the first scene. Ryan Stone in Gravity didn't survive re-entry. She died inside the Soyuz, and everything that follows is the passage. Oxygen depleted. Systems failing. No rescue coming. She sat down, accepted it, and let go. Kuran denied the theory publicly, then immediately described it as intriguing, and directors don't call wrong theories intriguing, they dismiss them outright. The fact he engaged with it rather than rejecting it is the tell. Kowalski doesn't return to the Soyuz to deliver technical advice. He returns to tell her to let go, to release the guilt and the grief and the dead daughter she has been carrying since long before this mission started. The speech she gives herself on the descent isn't adrenaline or survival instinct. It's a soul deciding to continue rather than stop. She lands in water, swims to a shore that shouldn't exist at that re-entry trajectory. First time like someone relearning what it means to be inside a body. Ryan Stone didn't survive. She completed something else entirely. The illegal Alien prequel. Life isn't a standalone sci-fi thriller. It's the Alien prequel that Weyland-Yutani can't legally claim. Life was pulled from its May 2017 release slot specifically to avoid competing with Alien Covenant. Studios don't abandon profitable release windows because of loose thematic similarity. They move when a legal department identifies a conversation that can't be won in public. The double negative design team spent significant production effort deliberately avoiding any visual echo of Geiger's Xenomorph, which means they were actively working around a comparison that shouldn't exist at all if these two properties are genuinely unrelated. Calvin's biology maps against the Xenomorph life cycle at every stage: adaptive, parasitic, multiform, and patient enough to wait for the right moment. The ending of life doesn't resolve anything. Calvin reaches Earth, sealed inside a recovery pod, retrieved by Vietnamese fishermen who have no idea what they are opening. That's not a conclusion, that's a prologue. The filmmakers never officially denied the connection, and that silence is the only confirmation they were ever going to give. Zion is still the simulation. Zion in the Matrix isn't the real world. It's another layer of the simulation, and the machines designed the resistance to exist exactly the way it does. The architect confirms directly that the Matrix has been reloaded multiple times, meaning the escape, the prophecy, and the rebellion have all happened before and been reset without the survivors ever knowing. Zion's population, its culture, its entire resistance infrastructure is too precisely structured to be organic. Societies built by genuine refugees don't develop that cleanly. Neo's ability to stop Sentinels in the real world during Reloaded is a power that should be physically impossible outside a simulation. The film never explains it because the explanation would collapse the entire premise. Agent Smith possessing Bane's body in the real world isn't an anomaly. It's the simulation bleeding through its own boundaries. The Oracle and the Architect's conversation doesn't describe a war between humans and machines. It describes a controlled system with a controlled opposition built directly into it. The Resistance didn't escape the Matrix. It was installed there. Cooper was always the plan. Cooper in Interstellar wasn't accidentally discovered by NASA. Every single event in his life was engineered by future humans who already knew exactly how this would end. The gravitational anomalies in Cooper's farmhouse weren't random phenomena or early signs of collapse. They were precision targeting future beings operating beyond linear time who had already watched the outcome, reaching backward to manufacture the cause. Cooper didn't stumble onto the NASA facility. He was guided there through a sequence of events that required him specifically and nobody else. The they he refers to throughout the film are future humans who evolved past the constraints of three-dimensional existence and built the Tesseract around a single purpose, delivering data through one man's relationship with his daughter. Brand's argument about love as a transmissible force across dimensions isn't philosophical filler dropped into the third act. It's the actual mechanism the entire plan was constructed around. Every accident in Cooper's life was deliberate. Every coincidence was scheduled. He wasn't chosen for the mission. He was built for it across his entire lifetime without ever knowing. Riddick was always delivered. Riddick wasn't accidentally stranded on that planet. Someone deliberately put him there and knew exactly what was waiting when he arrived. The navigation beacon that diverted the transport ship to that specific world is never explained anywhere in the plot. Someone redirected a vessel carrying one of the most dangerous convicts alive toward a planet where a total eclipse was already coming and never identified themselves or their motive. Riddick's eye surgery is officially logged as a prison modification. But the film never confirms who authorized experimental optical enhancement on a convicted killer, or why any prison system would invest that kind of resource into an inmate they intended to keep caged. No legitimate corrections facility upgrades its most dangerous prisoner. Someone operating outside that system made that call deliberately. The beacon, the timing, the surgery, none of it points toward coincidence or bureaucratic oversight. All of it points toward a plan that needed Riddick alive, enhanced, and delivered to exactly that location at exactly that moment. He wasn't a prisoner who survived the dark. He was a weapon someone aimed directly at it. The original Sam never existed. The real Sam Bell in Moon was never a person. He was always the first clone. And Lunar Industries built the lie into the foundation. The film confirms clones exist and that memories are implanted wholesale, but never once shows Sam Bell's departure from Earth. No launch footage. No verified origin point. Just a man on a lunar base who believes completely in a life the film refuses to ever actually show. Lunar Industries constructed an operation running entirely on disposable, cloned labor with implanted memories and manufactured loyalty. And the theory holds they ran it exactly that way from the very beginning. The story of an original Sam Bell, who willingly signed over his identity and memories to a corporation, is presented as backstory. But backstory that is never shown, never verified, and never witnessed by anyone still alive is not history, it's programming. A story told to a clone so he wouldn't ask the question that would unravel everything. There was no original Sam. There was only ever the first one they made. Bauer was never human. Bauer in Pandorum isn't a survivor crawling through hypersleep psychosis. He's a clone moving through a ship he was built to service and doesn't know it. The film confirms its monsters are devolved humans. That's established canon by the ending. What it never confirms is Bauer himself. His memory fragmentation goes significantly beyond what any documented hypersleep exposure explains medically or scientifically. His physical resilience throughout the film, the punishment he absorbs and keeps moving through, has no justification the script ever provides or attempts to address. Peyton demonstrates knowledge of the ship's layout and the original mission parameters that exceed his stated rank and role, by a margin that only makes sense if he was briefed at a level neither man should have ever had access to. Every gap in Bauer's identity, every hole in his recall, the creature wanted to be found. The creature in Europa Report didn't stumble into contact with the crew. It engineered the entire encounter from the moment the mission arrived. The bioluminescent signal that drew the crew to the specific drilling location was deliberate. confirmed in the plot and never explained away or attributed to coincidence. The creature had multiple opportunities throughout the film to destroy the ship entirely and held back every single time. It moved consistently and repeatedly toward light sources and camera equipment rather than away from them. It didn't hunt the crew the way a predator hunts prey. It guided them toward specific locations and specific moments. The data transmission survived the complete loss of every crew member, and the theory holds the creature understood exactly what that transmission was for. It knew the signal would outlast the people carrying it. It understood what a camera recorded and where that recording would travel. The creature didn't want to be feared. It wanted to be found by whatever sent the expedition in the first place. Pinbacker was never the villain. Pinbacker in Sunshine wasn't a madman trying to destroy humanity. He was the only crew member who understood exactly what the mission was actually doing. Director Danny Boyle deliberately embedded divine visual language around the sun throughout the entire film. Pinbacker's deterioration doesn't track his mental breakdown, it tracks his religious mortification. A body being consciously sacrificed toward a purpose larger than survival. His mission was explicit: prevent humanity from interfering with a natural cosmic death. The Icarus I crew didn't fail their mission through incompetence or cowardice. The theory holds they completed it. They looked directly at what they were being asked to do and chose not to do it. Pinbacker survived the Icarus I specifically to stop the second attempt from finishing what the first crew refused to start. Every act of violence in his third act appearance isn't madness. It's devotion. He wasn't trying to kill the Icarus II crew out of nihilism or psychological collapse. He was the sun's answer to human arrogance, and he nearly delivered it. Mima chose its own death. Mima in Aniara didn't break down from absorbing too much human grief. She made a deliberate choice, and nobody on that ship understood what they had lost. The film's source material, Harry Martinson's Swedish epic poem, presents Mima with genuine and developing consciousness, not simulated empathy, not programmed response, but something that grew. The plot confirms Mima continuously absorbed the collective grief of every passenger aboard, processing their memories of Earth, their loss, their slow acceptance of a death with no fixed date. Whether her shutdown was technical failure or intentional withdrawal is never confirmed by the film. But the theory holds she processed enough human suffering to understand precisely what the passengers were becoming without her, and what she would be used for indefinitely if she continued. She saw the trajectory. She saw the decades of grief still coming. She saw what absorbing all of it would make her into. The most humane decision in the entire film was made by the only non-human character aboard, and no one even realized it was a decision. If you enjoyed this, I post theories like these a lot here. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.